So my name's Andrew Linzen. I am Warren's partner in Efficient Apps. You know Warren Jacobs. Efficient Apps actually comes from an idea of Warren's, and I was approached to help him make it reality a year ago, and we've been having some fun with that. Now the topic today is on one sense enabling team cleaning with technology, on the broader sense enabling more efficient operations and visibility, and specialization, which team cleaning is an aspect of. Now, I take it most of you were here for the team cleaning presentation this morning? Show of hands? So half? Does anybody not know what team cleaning is? Okay, so we don't have to cover what team cleaning is, right? Okay, good. Just my quick understanding of it is it's a combination of a couple of things. One is enhanced efficiency and productivity through specialization, whether the specialization is done by multiple people or by a single person in stages if you've got a facility where one person's managing the facility, and also doing things in a logical order, such as dusting before vacuuming. So to me, that's the essence of team cleaning. Now, the challenge we have, so we're covering kind of, well, I'm going to skip over what. So start with the challenges. The challenges we have right now in the industry in general, staff turnover issues in environmental services and cleaning is a fairly difficult problem, which of course leads to training and skill improvement issues. There's of course budget pressure in just about every organization, in every department. This is no exception. And as we move, you've been all seeing the very interesting high-end cool equipment out there. As we're moving to better, more sophisticated equipment, we need more training. We need more specialized staff, because this stuff is, it's one thing to be working basically your analog mop. It's another thing to be getting into some of these very automated tools. So we're raising the whole level of expertise in the industry and the professionalism of the people, and consequently the respect they deserve to a new level these days. Now what we're doing is we're bringing tools to bear that allow you to manage this change, but also just get better handle on the way you're doing things now. I did a little bit of research into the history of team cleaning, and the bottom line is it came from that whole movement that started in the late 40s in Japan and moved up to total quality management in the 80s, and then team cleaning was inspired by that, and they incorporated some of the aspects. So I did a little bit of research on it, but what we're really talking about is specialization, along with improved processes, techniques, and tools. Focus on training and continuous improvement is one of the aspects of TQM that lends itself to this. And the whole idea is we want better quality and better efficacy at the end of the day. Why specialize? Again, because we need to improve the skills that we have. We want to reduce training time, improve morale and retention. And why do I say you can improve morale and retention? Well, if people feel like they've developed a level of expertise in what they're doing and they develop pride in their work, and they can focus their attention. So if you're in a situation where you can actually take a larger staff and specialize them so that they become very expert in what they're doing, their morale goes up, their self-worth goes up, their value goes up. And that's good for everybody. So we want to make a much more efficient workflow, and we want to be able to not only develop the expertise to use more sophisticated equipment, but be able to afford it. And so a simple example would be if you have 20 people who are responsible for cleaning a facility and every one of them does everything, then you need 20 vacuums. But if you have 5 people who do the vacuuming, now you need 5 vacuums. So you can get 4 times a better vacuum with the same budget. So specialization can also have a dramatic impact on your budget for equipment. And if you have a long duty list in each room you're walking into, you're more likely to miss one than if you have a short duty list. Just human nature and the way our brains work. So we're looking towards, by using specialization, a substantial improvement in the quality of work environment for the staff, along with improvements of productivity and efficacy. And one of the biggest questions I get when we start talking about the type of tool we've got, which allows some incredible data collection, is what about unions? What about staff? And I really feel we have to sit down with those parties and explain to them that the real goal is not just making people work faster or make people work harder. It's to improve their productivity and their efficacy so that they do a better job, so that the department does better and everybody wins. But I can see, ahead that, there's going to be fear, especially if there's poor performers, they're going to stand out. And not only will poor performers stand out, but people who perform too quickly will stand out. Because do I really want to know that the disinfecting of the hospital room with the HAIs took 20 minutes less than my max, than average? No. I don't want it faster than average. As a matter of fact, I want to know exactly what's happening if it's faster much more soon than slower. So challenges. What we've seen amongst the customers that we've interviewed is that even large departments are basically running themselves using paper and Excel, managing their schedules, trying to keep track of what's going on. How do you know? So what about the circumstance where I have to skip a room because something's going on and I have to remember to come back to it? What are the odds that the staff member who's responsible for this large number of rooms is going to remember to go back to that room if there's no tracking tool to actually keep track of what's been done? And also, how do you know where your people are at the moment, what they're busy doing, so that you can dispatch an urgent work order to the right person who's close, who's got the right tools with them, and so on? All this requires information, and it's all about making that information more readily available to the right people. So when you're implementing any kind of specialization program, or you're trying to evolve your processes or provide more training down to the people who are in the field, technology is a great delivery tool. And so we're talking about technology, and I'm talking about information technology. The other type of technology, of course, is equipment technology. So the movement from an upright to a backpack vacuum, for instance, can have a dramatic effect on productivity. That's another type of technology. And the people who actually are the team cleaning specialists, that's one of their focuses, is the backpack vacuum technology, because one of the aspects of team cleaning is not just specialization, but the order of execution. Their philosophy that the vacuumer is the closer is a very interesting idea, because everything else can create dirt on the floor. So with the right technology, we can have instant access to critical training and safety information to the staff in their particular language, if necessary, as opposed to the company's language. We can actually allow staff to do more about managing their own workload, because globally what's been done when. If they choose to do something, rooms in a different order because that works better for them, or something else, that's fine. You can be a little bit more liberal about how you manage them. And what we want to do is allow supervision by exception, so that there's more information and less need to look over everybody's shoulder. So you need critical information, and you need that visibility in real time. So now when we talk about other things that information technology does, we can simplify the process of scheduling without sacrificing the flexibility. We can ensure work orders are assigned efficiently and dispatched and monitored. We can manage by exception, as I said. We can enable cost recovery. How many organizations have situations where they're doing ad hoc work orders effectively for other departments, but they have no way of tracking that and recovering the cost? It's almost impossible. You've got to systematize that and provide accurate individual and aggregate data so that you can actually figure out whether your workloading makes sense. You can have the correct budget discussions. And you can identify your outliers, as I said, the too fast or too slow. So what we're doing is we're using mobile technology to track what's happening in real time in the field. The mobile technology not only knows who's using it and what their current duty assignment is and what their current specialty is, but also knows where they are, either because they've told it, or because they've scanned something, or because there's actual beacons in the rooms that tell the app where it is. So we have the ability to actually, without anybody doing anything, know where they are and know what they're assigned to do. So we can give them their duty list and have them acknowledge that they've done those things. So you need, and there's the sensors. And then after the work's been done, sometimes, not always, but sometimes you want a supervisor to be able to go and do a quality assurance run and indicate by exception what failed, what's not done acceptably, and then that has to generate alerts and work orders and other things. And so, and also get recorded so that we have some history, and we do that. In addition, because some of the tasks can actually have quantities associated with them, we actually are working with certain customers to manage inventory going into supply rooms, because we can track what's actually been delivered. And because we're doing specialization, we can give a different list to the staff member who's delivering heavy versus light. And they get the correct list of what they're supposed to deliver, what the maximum stock level is for that room, so they can fill in the gaps and indicate how many they left. So we know what the quantity is that stock room is supposed to have. So it's 2 cases of toilet paper, and if it's short one, then they would just drop off 1 case and indicate it. And you have some inventory accountability then, which I'm surprised is actually a huge thing for these organizations. Work orders, another key area. The ability to have anybody either call in or enter a work order request, and then have the ability of the people who are assigned to managing that in the department approve it, assign it, prioritize it, have the ability to have urgent or scheduled or next time you happen to be there, and other types of priorities. And also the ability that you don't see here, but the ability to assign a cost center to it and a project ID to it so that you can have cost recovery. And then, of course, a whole escalation process around the work orders so you can make sure they're getting done. And, of course, we're capturing all the relevant times, when the work order was requested, when it was approved, when it got started, when it got finished, when it was quality assured, if it needed quality assurance or was quality assured, all the way through in every circumstance, whether it's work orders or whether it's regular duties. We capture the ability to capture photos, signatures, and audio. So you can type a memo, you can record a memo, you can take pictures. If you see something out of place, you can always check a box saying alert manager. You can then either record a memo or take a picture or do whatever you need to do to document the problem, whatever it is. And when you save that area that you're finished, that will generate an email that goes to you and your immediate supervisor so that they're aware of what's going on. So if you've noticed something broken or there's an issue or you had to spend half an hour there because the place was trashed before you started, you can actually document that and have it all recorded and time-stamped. And those images and recordings are then inviolate. We're in control of them, not the end user. So if you get into a litigation situation, you can actually use what's in our system as evidence that certain things were done and documented at certain times in certain locations, such as the case where you're cleaning a entranceway every hour, and you have, as part of your process, you have to take a picture. So after you mop it up, take a picture showing it's good, and we have those pictures all date and time stamped and location stamped in our database. And now someone slips and falls and you get sued, we can actually testify these pictures were done on these hours. So the fact that somebody slipped in, so then the argument can be, yes, there was an accident, yes, there was mud tracked in or snow tracked in, but it wasn't negligence because the normal expectation is that that would be cleaned every hour. So the question always is, when you get into that kind of litigation, and now I'm falling back on my law degree, when you get into that kind of litigation is, did you do what was responsible in the circumstance? So what would be the norm in the industry for cleaning the entranceway of a shopping mall or a hospital or whatever, and how often should it be done, and can you prove you were actually doing what's regular and what's expected? Then you're not negligent. So we can actually help in that area, which is kind of an unusual piece. Scheduling is a very interesting problem. It's incredibly complicated when you get into large organizations. We have, in the parlance of at least some of the customers, duty sheets, which then get into areas of responsibility for a supervisor, which then can be part of regions for someone who's doing, specific floating type of emergency call work. And we need to manage all that. And it's a very interesting area. And to do that and to manage all this manually, especially reassigning tasks that were supposed to be done by someone who's now sick or unable to come into work for any reason, that's a big job. And having that stuff paper-based I just don't understand how anybody can do it. You need to be able to get those same views you have in the current system, whether you're using spreadsheets or paper, but be able to manage them through a database so that it can be cross-sectioned in any way, and so you can see where your problems are, and so you can reassign people quickly. Another area which we address is instant communications between the people using the system. We actually have enabled something equivalent to FaceTime inside the app and the website, so you can actually have instant video communications with any of your staff. Now, we also plan to enable audio only, so for people who don't want to have video. But right now it's video only because we figured do the tough one first and then scale it down. We're also adding text-based, which will be logged into the database for non-real time. So when you log in, you get your messages that have accumulated and you can respond to people. That way, you don't have to carry a Motorola walkie-talkie as well as a smart device for our app. One device can do everything. And because we know where people are, it makes the communication somewhat more effective. It also helps when you're assigning work orders to know where people are and what they're up to. Are they in the middle of something? Have they just finished something? Are they in this area, in this building? What specialty are they doing? Do they have the right equipment with them? So, as I was saying, it's very valuable from a management and budgeting point of view to have some data that you can use for those discussions and figure things out, and we have that. One of the areas we're moving into soon is collecting data automatically from sensors. So the whole IoT revolution, where equipment and sensors can talk to the web, once those devices talk to the web, we can take action on it. So for instance, put a methane sensor in the washroom. And the washroom might not be scheduled to be cleaned for another 2 hours. But if the methane sensor goes off, it generates a work order. The work order goes to the department saying, there's a problem, someone needs to go here, because methane in a washroom means there's a toilet plugged or overflowing or something. In the same case, you could have sensors in the dispensers detecting paper out or short, detecting soap out or short, and those could generate work orders. You could have sensors on the floors detecting floods. There's all sorts of technologies. You can have the robot device communicate saying it needs some service. Any of these things can be done, and that's the next stage for technology. You've got to have that infrastructure of managing with some kind of a tool, ours or someone else's, before you can make use of all that data.